Welcome back. I'm Steve Rand. This is Tim Murphy, and this is the Gold Spot. Tim, we're hearing the term de-dollarization constantly now. It's everywhere you look. It's all over the internet. News is talking about it. Ever since BRICS formed, it's been the topic of conversation. But I think a lot of people really still don't really understand exactly what de-dollarization is. Can you help us understand that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, de-dollarization is just the dollar losing value. It's less wanted around the world. It's becoming, just less valueless. So, in order to understand what it really is, you have to go back almost to 1971, and just a real quick history lesson. But back in 71, the U.S. went off the gold standard. And that was a big deal because the gold standard, it made us accountable for how much money we were spending as a country. And as soon as we went off the gold standard, the U.S., which needed the extra money to pay for the Vietnam War at the time, it allowed the U.S. to just start printing money to an extent, as much as they really wanted to over time. They were no longer accountable. And what happened was, over the years, the debt just grew. It grew sort of at a rate like this, and just steady and higher and higher and higher and higher. And it's important to understand the way the money is created and how we are able to fund our debt, and why the debt keeps going higher and higher is when we need money, we just simply sell bonds to other countries, and the countries give us money, they take the bonds, and we take the money and we spend it. As of COVID, it's going like this. And the thing is, you can't stop it at this point. We were always sort of teetering on the edge of, too much debt and having to raise the debt limits every year. And now it's just out of control. And one of the big problems is that because it's so out of control, we have to raise interest rates in order to make the dollar more attractive so that other countries will buy our bonds. And again, it's the vicious cycle. So now you have other countries, mainly Russia, China, India, and the BRICS countries, are instead of buying our bonds, they're now buying gold. And that's one of the reasons why, the main reason why gold is going up for the last 3, 4, 5 years. And ever since COVID, gold's been going up nicely. And now it's really starting to ramp up in price. So we're seeing that in real life. We're seeing what it means to have this massive debt. So as a country, we've been living over our means, and spending, and the people too, the citizens, are also spending sort of at will and going into debt, greater debt, more debt, and it's worked up until just a few years ago. And now it's not working anymore. Now you have a debt that it's a giant albatross, and it means higher interest rates, and it means inflation is going to go higher. It's very detrimental to the economy, and ultimately to the stock market and real estate market. So it's a debt cycle. It's a vicious debt cycle. It's guaranteed to get worse. It has to get worse. And so the question is, what do you do about it? And Steve, what should the average person be thinking about right now?
Well, the average person has to be thinking like these other countries that are sick and tired of owning an asset in the US dollar that's just appreciating in value, purchasing less, impacting their daily life. The majority of people right now, or there's many people I should say out there right now, that are living well beyond their means, on credit cards, on equity loans, and a lifestyle that they can't afford because they've gotten used to now. And it's creating major problems for down the road for future generations that won't even be able to afford things like owning a home or getting an 8-year car loan or a 40-year mortgage. We have to learn that there are things you can do to be able to hedge yourself against things like the dollar losing value, and that's where gold and silver comes in, just like foreign governments are doing by buying the most gold that they've bought in any year in the last 60 years. Ask yourself why they're doing that. Common sense, use the eye test. Don't just listen to what the mainstream's telling you. Financial planners that don't necessarily always understand what's happening and are used to telling you the same thing, just keep diversifying in the mutual funds. It isn't that simple anymore. You have to change what you're doing if you want to keep up with what's going on with the dollar. De-dollarization's here. The rest of the world understands it. We need to as well. We'll see you next time on the Gold Spot.
If you enjoyed today's Gold Spot, like or subscribe to both our YouTube or our Rumble channels. Also, comment below if you have any questions or if you want to hear us talk about something specific in a future video.